the Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And in this video we're going to be reviewing the Star Wars The Vintage Collection HasLab Razor Crest. So this finally arrived in the UK from Zavvi, and as you can see I have it in front of me here. It's a reasonably big box, nowhere near as big as the barge though, but we do have a little tiny bit of damage here on my box. I'm hoping that that is not going to go all the way through. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the box here and then look at the actual box of the item. And then once I've done that, I'm going to try and do the rest of the review on my desk under the lights. Even though the ship is quite big, I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to fit it on there for you so we can check it out properly. But just for the moment, in here, we're going to be looking at the box. So don't forget, if you happen to like the video, don't forget to drop a like down below. Always helps the video and the channel. And the next thing I'm going to do now is open the box. And there she is. The side of the box in the shipper. Looking pretty good. So that's how they've packed it. Hopefully there won't be any damage on the box. Okay then, so there it is out of the shipper box, and this is the main box. Absolutely stunning artwork on that box. Really, really beautiful. And luckily for me, the shipper was thick enough not to damage the inner box, which is good because now I've got this nice mint box. Even though I'm going to be opening it, you've got the HasLab logo on the top right hand corner there, which you can't really see because of the reflection. It's like a shiny badge. We have Kenner in the bottom right hand corner, and then we have this sort of like sticker here telling you that you get the figures included. But look at that shot that they've done there. What a fantastic box. Here's the top side of the box, and as you can see, there's the logo, the Mandalorian Razor Crest, and then you've got some shots of the inside of the ship and all of the features. Really, really cool. And on the back of the box, you've got that classic Kenner black and white version of the front image. The artwork there, really, really cool. Obviously, that's a massive callback to how Kenner used to do it back in the day. A lot of the boxed vehicles used to have that sort of black and white drawing on the other side of the box. So really nice there. And there you can see the HasLab logo as well, and 14 plus. So my son, who's 8, I'm not sure if he's allowed this, but I'm sure he'll get to play with it. Okay then, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up in here, get it out of the polystyrene, get all the pieces out, have a look at the card backs, making sure that they're intact and they're not bent and busted up. Hopefully they're really, really good. And then once I've got all the pieces out, then we'll get onto the desk, build it all up, and we'll review it under the lights. And there we go. When I opened up the one end of the box there, we can see the instructions. So these are obviously in the style that Kenner used to do them as well. Lovely artwork there with the Razor Crest on its stand. And as you open up here, there's some detailed instructions here with all the pieces. There's the escape pod. So it's going to basically tell you how to put it all together and all the removable panels and things like that. So that's really cool. So looking forward to getting to that. But now we're going to pull this out from the box and check all the pieces are there. Right, so on one side of the polystyrene, we have 2 of the carbonized blocks and all of the landing gear. And on this side of the polystyrene, we have the stand, which if I remember rightly was actually a stretch goal. All right then, so there's part of the stand, and we've got that lovely logo on there, Star Wars The Mandalorian. Mine seems to have these sort of white marks on it. I don't know whether that's come from the tissue paper or the polystyrene itself. Hopefully I'll be able to wipe those off, but they're more noticeable on the camera than they are in sort of person. But for example, you can't really see them there, but when you put them down like that, you can kind of see a few marks there. But as I said, they're not really too noticeable in person. And there we go, that's the inside of the box. We can see the main body of the crest there. We've got the spits of the stand, we've got the side guns, we've got the 2 main engines, we've got the Mandalorian figure in his baggie, 2 more of the carbonite blocks, and then the 2 card backs. So let's check those card backs out and see how we're doing with those. Right then, so here's my 2 card backs with the off-world Jawa Elder and Grogu. The Grogu one says the Razor Crest in the name pill, which is pretty cool. Now, the condition of these, first of all, I would say obviously they're both unpunched, which is good. This one I would say is in mint condition. There's nothing wrong with this one whatsoever. Really nice condition. Very, very happy with that one. This one, the Grogu, is ever so slightly warped. Now, I don't think I've got a crease down there. I really hope I haven't. I don't think I have. So I'm going to be putting this one in a heavy book to flatten that one down. But or maybe even a star case will sort it out. I don't know. But I think maybe a heavy book will probably be needed. Just in case you're wondering, unfortunately the cardstock for these is still the same as your regular retail card backs, which is really frustrating. You would think a premium item like this would have the extra thick cardstock, just like the Antok Merrick figure. These are still a little bit bendy, unfortunately, but with the unpunched there, they look a bit nicer and they're going to look great on display. The back of the cards there, you've got HAS002. You've got an awesome picture there from the series with the egg and a bit of legal gumph and stuff at the bottom. That's a big shame that half of the card is all of that. And we've got the Vintage Collection logo there. So this will mean that the Grogu figure is HAS001, as you can see there. And that's a great picture of the Mandalorian and Grogu there sitting in the Razor Crest. That is awesome. Awesome pictures on these card backs, really nice. This one's going to sit so nice next to the other Jawa. As I say, just a little bit disappointed that this one's ever so slightly warped, and I'm going to have to flatten that one out. But that's everything done now, apart from the main ship. So as I've said a few times, I'm going to take it into the other room, under the lights, build it all up, and we're going to go through all of the play features. Alright then, so here it is, out of the box, and I've got to say, the first thing that struck me is the sheer size of this thing. It is absolutely massive. I would probably say it's about the same length as the big Millennium Falcon. It's not as long as the barge, obviously, and if I do remember, I will post a picture up on the screen now for you to see the shot of it with it being compared against some of the other vehicles. I just wanted to zoom in a little bit. I am going to be handheld for the moment just to give you some idea of the detail and the wash and everything that they've given this thing. It looks absolutely incredible. So good. And I don't think it's going to have let anybody down. It really does look good. And also I remember seeing some of the images on Instagram. I think somebody in the Far East managed to get one of these pretty early, and I was really worried about the colour of the blue on some of the guns and things like this, these in particular. And I think he said that he used a filter on his images, and you know, the blue really sort of came through. Originally I thought here these pieces here were going to be the same colour as that, and they're not. They're like a darker grey, which is great. That really did worry me, but there it is. There is the ship. Now here's the engines. We've got to build those. We've got to put it all together. Here's the carbonite blocks. We have the Mando in his baggie with his soft goods cape, and in the tissue paper there I believe are his jetpack and all his guns and everything. You also get these in a baggie. These are all of the blasters and everything that are going to go in the blaster cabinet, with all of the satchels and everything that are going to go on the sort of side panels inside the ship. But man, it looks amazing. Here's the landing gear. So I'm going to put it all together, and what I might do so it fits on the desk so we can review it is not put one of the engines on that side, so we can lay it flat this way and we can take a good look inside at all the features and everything, just so we can fit it on the desk. So let me put it together and we can see what's what. All right then, so there she is. Now, I do apologise. I am going to have to do this handheld because she's too big to be on the desk and have the camera in place. So I do apologise for any jerkiness on the camera, but I just wanted to sort of pan you round, just giving you a good idea of, you know, what's included, how good it looks. There's the engine. Really nice. The front cannons are on. I'll show you inside the cockpit in a minute, and then through that door there, we'll get some light on in there in a minute. But in there is the gun cabinet, which we will have to open and put all the blasters in place and everything like that. But I just wanted to bring you to the top of the ship. Look, there's a top-down view. You can really see how big this thing is. Now, we do have this button here. Now, if we press this button, then this whole section at the top is going to come out. So we'll just push that down like so. And then you can lift this piece out. So that's the whole top section is out, and there inside you can see we've got some good lighting in there. You have this netting here, which I originally thought was sculpted in, but this is actual material netting, which is pretty cool. I do like that. Now, one thing I would say, and this came through on the images for me as well, is that I wish the inside of it was a slightly different colour, maybe a darker grey or something. The blue is a little bit off-putting, but they have weathered some of it up. You can see there is some of the paint work there. And we have these little hooks here and on the netting, and there's one there as well. And that's to put all your little satchels and things like that, which are included in that accessories bag. We have the carbon freezing chamber here, which does open up, and one of the carbonite blocks would go in there, which is pretty cool. All the other carbonite blocks are going to go on this. So this is the underside, There's all your sort of little pegs, which will house all of the carbonite blocks hanging down from the ceiling, which is awesome. If you want to put the lid or the roof back on, you've got those two little tabs there. They simply just go inside there like so, and then it's just going to click down very nicely and flush, which is awesome. We also have the escape pod right here. Now this, I believe, just literally comes off like so, and then you have the escape pod there, and then you can see all the inner workings there with all of it weathered up. Usual vintage collection quality with the paintwork, some of the inner workings of the ship. And this is the escape pod, which will open so you can put your Mandalorian in there. Obviously, we never saw that from the show. We don't really know if that was part of the show or if it was just added as an effect for the toy. Once again, you have little tabs of plastic there which fit into these two pieces here. You put it in like that and click it back down. Moving on to the cockpit area, I found this a little bit fiddly to get off, but essentially you just got to get your nail in there and lift it off over there. And once again, it has another little bit of plastic which would go in there to put it back down. But I just wanted to show inside the cockpit if I can get some light in there for you. Let's try and get some light in there. There you go. So you've got 3 seats, one for the Mandalorian. You can sit Grogu on the chair behind and maybe Cara Dune there. And there's all his little control panels, which look awesome, nicely painted. So that's a lovely cockpit area there. And then to put the canopy back on, you need to put that groove in there. And then slot it back on like that, and it sits nice and flush. And you can see the glass is quite clear, so you can see through there. So once the Mandalorian's in there, that's going to look pretty cool. The side guns do articulate up and down. There's some detail of the engine, but what I do love is the detail of the back of the engine. This is fantastic. If you can see the light coming through there, with the light beaming on there, you can really see the glow of the engine. I think that's fantastic. And you've got all this weathering on there, really charred look. Almost like an oily effect where it's really sort of charred that metal. Absolutely brilliant. Love that. And we can see all the weathering all across the ship in all those grooves. All that sort of dark paint used in the areas that you would expect. Now you'll see that I do have the ramp down at the moment. This literally just lifts up and down like that. And you can see the sort of hydraulics there. I do like that up and down. That's cool. And then it just clips in very nicely. If you do want to take it down, you just get your finger in there like so and pull it down. Now mine seems really, really easy to do. I have heard of a few people that have had a bit of an issue with that and they've had to get the hairdryer on it to get it moving, but mine seems to be working very nicely indeed, like a well-oiled machine. So that's pretty cool. And then obviously on the side of there, you've got all that lovely yellow paint for the markings of the Razor Crest. Pretty awesome. And now we're going to take some of the panels off so we can get a good look at the inside. Okay, so these are the panels that you can take off from this side of the ship. You can take this piece off here, which you do need to make sure you rotate the gun before you attempt to take that piece off. You can take that top piece off so you can see some more inner workings of the ship there. That's just right by that button that releases the top part of the ship. And then you can take 2 pieces off the engine on the left. So this piece here and that piece there, they come off quite easily and they go back on quite easily. You can see inside there's some inner workings of the engine, but I wouldn't say that these are weathered up necessarily. They're just like a dark grey plastic. On the outside of the engine, the silver parts, you do have a bit of weathering, but on the inside parts, there's not really any weathering to speak of. They are, as I say, just a dark grey plastic, but they still look effective enough. They look pretty cool. So they're the pieces that you can remove on this side of the ship. You've got those 2, that piece. Obviously, you've got the door as well. And of course, you have the main side panel as well, which gives you a good look of everything inside. Now, this is that piece. There's the inside of it. And you can see on that blue, there's lots and lots of weathering on there. Really nice. And some other little bits and bobs on that side with all those hooks as well for you to put all of the accessories on. When we put some light inside there, you can really see the netting and the carbon freezing chamber and also the gun cabinet. Now, that is my only real sort of complaint about this, is that the gun cabinet is quite hard to sort of get to if you've got big hands. It's really designed for smaller hands, this one. So even to open that gun cabinet, it is a bit tricky because you've got to really get in there like so. So I can imagine it'll be quite painstaking to put all of the blasters within that cabinet, especially the little thermal detonators that you get. I can see in there the 3 little hooks that they're going to have to go on, and they are really, really small. We're going to get to those in a second. We're going to see what's in that accessory bag, but putting them in there is going to be quite tricky. Even with the top of the ship taken off, you're going to have to try and put those in, and that's going to be difficult. So here's the other side of the ship, and I'm going to remove all of the panels now to show you which ones remove and what they're like inside. So there you go, there's the side panels taken off the right hand side of the ship. You have this piece here, which is this one. You have this piece here, which is that one. You have this top piece here, which goes there, and you can see some of the inner workings of the ship. And you have this piece there, which again goes behind the gun, and you do need to make sure that you move that blaster up like that before you take it out. And once again, they all go in quite easily with these little clips. It's pretty obvious to see which way they go in. Coming into the top of the ship again here. Now, if we can just get some light in there, you can see that is the side panel that removes on the other side, as we saw a minute ago, with all those accessories on there. And you can see all the little hooks where all the accessories are going to go. We do have the back ramp as well, which is just going to go down there. Very similar hydraulics to the side ramp. So that's a really good look of the inside of the ship. I mean, I've got to admit, this thing is an absolute beast. It is impossible to film. It's so big. It takes up the whole desk, but it is amazing, and it's going to look great. But I'm not too sure if I would trust a child to play with this. There's a lot of pieces that could potentially break. Some of these little latches on here, for example, if you try to force that, I can imagine those snapping off. But for me to display this, I personally am going to put all of these pieces back on, put the engines on, and I'm going to put it on the stand. I think that's how it's going to look its best. Of course, if you had a bigger setup, a bigger room, then you could perhaps have it like this with all the pieces taken off, maybe have some off-world Jawas, you know, taking some of the parts away and things like that, make it a real sort of play set. But for me, I think I'm just going to display it on its display stands. But before I do put it all back together and show you what it looks like on the stand, I've just got a few more of the play features that I wanted to go over, namely the carbonite blocks hanging from the top. We're going to put those on and check that out, and we're also going to check out the space toilet and everything else at the back of the ship. All right, so there is a good look at the space toilet, as you can see, that was used in the show, and next to it is this little cabinet here, which again, it's very difficult to get your sort of fingers in here. But if we just take the doorway off there, you can see there's a little place there for Grogu to hide in, and underneath there's another one there. If I just pull that down there's a little sort of hiding place for him as well. So much going on inside here, you can really see it. But as I said, the only sort of thing I would say is that these bits in here are very hard to get to, even if you're coming in from the top or the side. They're very fiddly, and as I say, in this video I'm not even going to attempt to put those blasters in the gun cabinet because it will just take me hours and I just don't have the time right now. But there's all the play features of the Razor Crest. It looks phenomenal, but I'm going to put it all back together now, get both engines on, and we're going to stick it on that stand and see it in all of its glory. First of all, I almost forgot about the carbonite blocks. So here they are. These are the 4 carbonite blocks that you get. And if you're wondering, they are slightly different to the carbonite block that you get with Jabba. So, or with Han Solo rather. So there's that one. You can see it's bigger. It doesn't have the little slots that you can hang it up. So this is not going to be compatible with the Razor Crest. So these are your 4. You can see all your 4 characters here. You've got the Rodian. You've got, what is that, the Mithril. You've got the male character there and the female character there. And if I remember rightly, they were based on some characters from a comic book. So I'm just going to put those on to the racking just to show you that very quickly. So there they are, all clipped in, and you know, they move up and down the ship like this, which is pretty cool. Obviously they're going to hang when we put them in the ship, when we put this whole piece back in. But I really do like that. They clip in quite easily. They've got like a little slot on the back for them to go in. You can just see the clip there, how that goes on, and they rotate 360. So we're going to hang those now and check out what it looks like. And there they are, hanging on inside there. You can move them back and forward, and I've turned that one around so you can see him hanging there. Obviously if I open the back door, you'll be able to see those a lot better, but my desk just isn't long enough to be able to show you those. But you can just about see them there. If I bring that down there like that, get some light in there, you can see them hanging there like that, which is pretty cool. And of course you can also put one actually in the carbon freezing chamber yourself as well. Here's all the accessories out of the baggie, and as I mentioned before, these little thermal detonators here are absolutely tiny, and there is a little peg for those to go on inside that gun cabinet, which is just going to be crazy difficult for my, you know, adult sized hands to be able to get in there. But some of the accessories look really good, some nice detail on some of these. Obviously a lot of them use the same sculpting, but there they are, looking pretty awesome, and they're really going to sort of enhance the look of the inside of your ship. Lots of different blasters here. This one looks familiar. That looks like a Bossk blaster to me. And yeah, so that's all the accessories. Now one last thing before I turn it over and put it on the stand and get it into flight mode. I've taken all the landing gear off, so these have taken out quite easily and the flaps go back on quite nicely. And this one I was wondering, oh, that's a bit odd, where's that? But you have this little piece here which slides across, which conceals it really nicely. So right then, let's get it on the stand and take a look at it, looking absolutely awesome. And there you have it. You have the Mando with the soft goods cape, you have Grogu, and you have Bossk, all travelling in the Razor Crest. And you can even see there the little gear stick without the knob on the end, because of the Grogu that you get in the set on the card actually has that little gear knob in his hand. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be opening that one, so I'll make do with the other Grogu that came with the pod in the standard line. And I think Bossk looks at home there. He's doing quite well. So there you go. There she is, the Razor Crest on her stand. And man, what a display piece this is. Absolutely fantastic. Looks beautiful. Unfortunately, it's so big, it's impossible to film on a desk like this. I mean, my desk is pretty big, but this thing is huge and it's going to take up a lot of space in your collection room. As I said before, it's about as big or as long as the Millennium Falcon. Not quite as big as the barge, but wider than the barge because of those engines there that you've got there. But what a fantastic toy or collector item, whatever you want to call it. It acts as both, really. But what a fantastic thing to put out into the vintage collection. I think we're extremely lucky to have this. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. I hope you've got one. It's absolutely fantastic. It looks the business, and I'm just so pleased to have one. You can look there. There's Mando in the cockpit. So that is awesome. So I apologise for the camera work. It's been a bit wonky. As I said, it's impossible to have the camera planted down with my setup. I've had to do handheld, but man, I don't care. This thing is just phenomenal, and I hope I've shown you all the details that it comes with. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to drop a like down below, and don't forget to check out some other videos on my channels of other vehicles that I've reviewed. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we shall see you on the next one.